Hello, families. This is Jeff McClellan. I'm one of the directors here at Tsunami, and this is the information session for Tsunami Volleyball for the 2022-2023 season. This session is primarily based on our Forest Park location. And those of you that are veterans, there are some new things here that you're going to want to watch. So there's also a 10 and under information session. So if this is your first time and you have a youngster, you might want to go watch that one instead of this one because the information might be a little bit more pertinent. So as a club, this is one of the things that we pride ourselves on the most. This is our class of 2022, and recognize that we had one 18s team last year, and 8 of those athletes are going on to play in college. And this was during a COVID time when a lot of seniors were given an additional COVID year. So there were not a lot of opportunities out there for our athletes, and I think these guys have kind of knocked it out of the park. I'm going to let these next slides just scroll through. You can pause it and look and see who's on each one of them, but you'll see that we have every level of athlete that has come through our program in the last 4 or 5 years. You'll see JUCO, you'll see HBCU, you'll see Division III, Division II, and you'll see some of the top Division I programs in the country: Baylor, Penn State, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech. So our kids are playing at every single level. It's one of the things that we pride ourselves on the most, is at helping our athletes find the right fit for them. So for those of you who have done this before, you know that we run a recruiting program that is extensive, and we do a lot of work for our athletes through our recruiting program. This year, new is that we've hired Amy Held. Amy is the one of the recruiting directors at Kennesaw State University for their volleyball program. So she's going to take over the individual interactions with our athletes. We'll continue with our program as it has been in the past, but we're going to add her as an additional a piece for her brain trust. She knows a lot of colleges and a lot of coaches and does an excellent job. She's coming over to us from our Cobb County location and will be a great addition to what we're doing. So 3 things we really want to know here. Your age is determined by the age group you compete is determined by how old you are on July 1st of next year. So on July 1st of 2023, my daughter will be 10 years old. She can compete in the 10 and under age group. The second thing we want to know here is that there is a group of athletes that are July to September 1st birthdays that can compete down an age group but are up a graduating class. And so those athletes, we probably want to have some conversations about where to place them. And it's pretty simple like this. If your athlete wants to play collegiately, then we probably need to get them with their graduating class. If they're just playing to stay busy and to stay healthy and to get out of the house, then they probably want to play down because they'll have more success, probably because they'll be one of the older kids. So that's the short answer to how that works. And then number 3 is that USA Volleyball changed, I believe it was last year, maybe the year before that if you are an 18-year-old junior in high school, you can compete in 17s twice because your graduating class is the next year. So instead of making you play 18s twice, they allow you to play 17s twice. So there is a waiver that we can use to let you play 17s twice. So if you have any questions about that, call us, email us, something. We'll take care of it for you. So at Tsunami, we have 4 levels of competition. We have our elite level. New for this year is our national level. Then we have our premier level and our ATL level. We're going to talk about each one of those. First is our elite level. Our elite level are the kids that are crazy for the game. You cannot get them out of the gym. You've got little dots all over the walls of your house where they have banged the ball against the wall. They are constantly wanting to play. They're asking you outside to go pepper with them all the time. They're the crazy for the game kids, and they are athletically gifted. So our elite teams are typically in the top 3, 4, 5 of the region and pretty consistently in the top 100 in the country. At 15s through 18s, our thoughts are that if you are competing at the elite level, that you intend to play collegiately, and we're going to do everything we can to help make that a possibility for you. One of the most important things I want to say about the elite level is that playing time at the elite level is not guaranteed. And what that means is that everybody's going to practice. Everybody's going to practice equally. We're going to push every kid to get better. But when it comes game time, we're going to play to win. Now, our hope is that if we've got 10 on the team or 12 on the team or whatever, that 10 or 12 are able to contribute to us getting to that point. But if your athlete is still, if your athlete's a little bit of a project and catching up, then she may not compete in tournaments as much. Now, I will tell you that no coach on our staff wants to bench a kid. That is not in our minds at all. So if we can get your kid on the floor in competition, we are going to always, and we always have 99% of the time. But at the end of the day, you understand that playing time at the elite level is not guaranteed. And so we don't have playing time conversations other than how do I get more? What do I need to work on in order to get more? That's kind of the only conversation that we have between the athlete and the coach. So new for us this year is our national level. And so the national level athletes want to compete at the elite level. They want to do everything that the elite teams do. They want to train like they want 3 practices a week. They want to do all that kind of stuff, but they just can't commit the time or maybe the finances to do the full elite travel schedule. So our national teams, if you think in this terms, they're kind of one step in between our elite teams and our premier teams. So our premier teams are regional, our elite teams are travel where we need to travel, and the national teams are, we're going to kind of keep an anchor here in Atlanta, but we're going to travel a little bit to still be able to play against some of the best teams in the country. Our national teams are 3 practices a week. They are they're participating in our recruiting program. They're doing everything an elite team would do. They're just not traveling quite as much and quite as far, which means that they're also not quite as expensive. Again, playing time at the national level is also not guaranteed. We treat our national teams exactly like our elite teams, other than their travel schedule. So we're pretty excited about this. We've needed this level for 3 or 4 years, and it's just kind of evolved into being able to happen now. So we're excited about this. This is a good spot for 2-sport athletes that can't do quite the normal tournament schedule. This is a good spot to look at putting them. So our premier level is what we call a regional team, and that means that you guys are going to compete mostly in Atlanta, but you're going to travel to Alabama or Tennessee or South Carolina or Florida, just kind of the surrounding states, a few times. It is athletes who are exceptionally busy. They don't have the time, they don't have the finances perhaps to commit to the national schedule or the elite schedule. Definitely a great spot for 2-sport athletes who are competing in a bunch of different things at school. This is a great opportunity for them. The biggest thing here is 2 practices a week instead of 3, and then for our tournament schedule, it's a little less involved. Now, playing time at the premier level is what we consider fair but not equal, which means that everybody's going to play. Everybody is not necessarily going to play equally. Specifically getting in pool play, we will play everybody as we can, and then as we get into bracket play, we will play to win a little bit more. So our intention is to try and win at the premier level. We certainly don't want to give away matches, but at the same time, everybody does get to play at the premier level. And then finally, our 4th level is our ATL level, and that ATLENTA, that's where it comes from. These teams are going to play in the Atlanta area only. There's no travel involved. These are what we consider our local teams. And the advantage to the local teams, obviously there's less of a commitment as far as everything, time, travel, money, it's less. And at the ATL level, playing time is absolutely guaranteed as much as we possibly can. If there's only one setter, obviously that one setter is going to play all the way around all the time. But as much as possible, we're going to play everybody equally at the ATL level. All right, as we start to talk about tryouts, on the website, underneath the tryout registration page, so when you go into tryout registration and it pulls up all the 5 locations, Cobb, Central Georgia, Rome, South, Forest Park, and our North Atlanta location, you'll see a chart that looks like this. Now, on this chart is what every team is doing. So this will tell you that the 10s we're going to call them 10 elite perhaps, even though we're not going to play an elite schedule. So 10s, 11s, and 12s, for the record, the moniker of elite, premier, it's a little fuzzy because there aren't quite the opportunities for 12 and under that there are for some of the older age groups. So understand, look at this when you're trying to figure out what we're doing. We do know that the 12 elite team is going to play 2 national qualifiers, and they are going to travel some. So they're going to play at Big South, they're going to go down to Orlando, and then they're going to play regionals and some other things. But this will tell you exactly what each level is doing. So when you look at the difference in a 13 Premier and an 18 Premier, it'll tell you what you can go head to head. Why is this one more expensive? Why is this one less expensive? It'll tell you everything on it. Are they playing in regionals? Is nationals included? All of that sort of stuff. So let's talk about tryout registration is now open. There are a couple of things that I always get asked, and I'm going to go through them. The very first question we always get asked is national and elite tryouts. It says there's 2 days. Do we need to be at both days? Yes, you need to be at both days. Here's the way that works. On day 1, we run through a bunch of individual work. So your athlete is going to be hitting off a coach's toss. Your athlete is going to be, for the most part, serve receiving from a coach's serve. It's going to be very much so individually based. And then a good bit of day 2 is team based. It'll be combo drills. It'll be playing a lot more. And so it'll, so they'll have the opportunity to shine in 2 different ways. Now, I will tell you that on day 1, we do play a good bit. We do a bunch of combo type drills, and we do a bunch of playing as well. And on day 1, we are going to pick most of our elite teams and most of our national teams on day 1. And so we always get this question, where do I need to go? So-and-so is having their tryouts at the same time you guys are having your tryouts. What do I do? You need to go to whichever one is your first choice. And I don't mean to throw you under the bus, but go to whichever one is your first choice. If it is us, come to our tryout. Before the day is over, before the tryout is over, we will tell you where you stand with us. And then if you want that offer, whatever it is, and it could be this is what we're going to give you. This is what we're offering. Do you want it? It could be, hey, we probably don't have something at this level for you, but we'd love for you to come back to the next level. Sorry, we don't have any elite or national spot for you, but we'd love for you to come back to our premier tryouts. Or it's going to be a congratulations, you made this team. So then you're going to decide whether you want to accept that spot or not, and then you come to day 2. And so if you go to your first choice first and they offer you what you want, then you take it and you don't go to anybody else's tryouts and you go home and you relax the rest of the afternoon. If you go to one that you don't, if you don't get what you want, then you pick up the phone immediately and you start calling people. You start calling clubs going, hey, do you have a spot? Do you have a spot? Do you have a spot? I tried out at so-and-so. I didn't make it. They didn't offer me. Poo-poo on them. I'd like a spot. Call us. Immediately call us. But I will tell you, on day 1, we're going to offer most of our elite and national teams because we have to make sure that we can fill up those rosters. So that's going to happen. You'll have this conversation. So I just kind of want to give you take your first choice and go there first. All right, so these are some of the typical questions we get. What level should I try out? So here's what we say. Try out for the highest level that you would consider playing. Now, and what I mean by that is if you only want to play Premier and you don't have any desire to play any other level, that's all at your family, then just try out at the Premier level. Don't worry about the elite or national. But if you're hesitant, if you think, well, we would play the national level if we made it, but we think we're going to just make Premier, so we don't want to show up, go ahead and try out for the national level. Once you register for tryouts, it is 1 fee. There is no additional fee if you don't make it. So if you try out for the elite and the national teams and you don't make it, we'll give you the opportunity to come back to the premier tryouts. And if you don't make that, we'll give you the opportunity to come back to the ATL tryouts. So there's no reason for you not to come to the higher level other than you just simply don't want to. And that's a valid reason, and that's fine. So don't, if you don't want to, then don't. But if you're just, I don't know if I can do it, or I don't know if I'm good enough, let us help you make that decision. We have certainly had athletes come to the elite tryouts that thought they were local, and we're like, you have lost your mind. You absolutely should be at the elite tryouts. And we've had kids show up for the local tryouts, and we're like, why didn't you come to the higher level? I didn't think I'd make it. You would have been on the one team, kid. So give us the freedom to help you make that decision. If you would play at a higher level, then come to that tryout. Sorry, I rambled there a little bit. Once you register, it's one registration. I think I said this already, but if you don't make the team, you don't have to register again. You just show up for the next thing. Do I need to attend both days of tryouts? We talked about that. Yes, please. And then when will I know if I made a team? I think I said that just a second ago as well. We will tell you that day if you made a team. 90% of the time. So you'll get one of 3 envelopes. One envelope says, I'm sorry, we don't have a spot for you at this level. Please come back to the other level. The second envelope potentially would say, hey, I don't have a spot for you today, but I'd love to see you tomorrow for whatever it is. So we don't have an elite spot for you, or hey, we have an elite spot for you. I don't know what it is yet. Come back tomorrow and we'll put you on a team. That's a possibility. And then the third is, congratulations. Here's the team we'd like to have a spot for you. If you want it, sign this little slip of paper. So anyway, so those are some of the biggest tryout frequently asked questions. Here's the thing you can do that will help you the most. Get in the gym. I cannot stress enough that when we have hundreds of kids at age groups try out, how difficult it is to always get it right. And I am for sure as sure as I can be that we have missed kids in the past because they just kind of blended in. Now, we do a really good job of picking kids, but there's no way that we get it right every time. The more your athlete is in the gym, the more chances we have to see her, to put her in the correct level. Whether that's a little higher or a little lower or wherever it is, the more we can know her, the more we have a chance to put her in the right spot. And we're running all kinds of clinics between now and tryout. So there are opportunities to get in the gym for sure. So we hope that you will jump in. If you can't find something you like, send us an email, info@tsunamivolleyball.com, and we will make sure that we have a class for you. Travel and housing. For the veterans of Tsunami, none of this has changed. This is all standard stuff. But here's the way it works. We do not book, we do not make your athletes stay in rooms together. We give you the opportunity to stay with your family. So if I'm traveling to Orlando and my daughter's going to play, I want my daughter to stay in the room with me. So we do not insist that you share rooms with athletes or that the athletes stay together. So what we will do is we'll book hotel blocks at a good middle-of-the-road hotel. And then if you want to stay in that hotel, you can call them and put your credit card down, and you'll have a room in the team block. But if you are a team that wants to stay, if you're a person that wants to stay at the Ritz, or you're a Motel 6, or you're a stay in a camper family, that's fine with us 99% of the time. The only time that doesn't work is on an event called a stay to play event, which are our national qualifiers usually. And we'll tell you when those come up. And at those, you have to stay in the hotel that they tell you to stay in. So anyway, so that's it for our travel and housing. I'm sure there's more that I didn't answer. Please send us an email and we'll take care of it. For the Tsunami veterans, there are a couple of things here that are new for everybody. Here are the things that we say. Our tuition includes everything that you would owe to Tsunami. You can budget based on the beginning that's going to run through April, May, June, July, whatever the case may be, and that's the only number that you're going to pay to Tsunami. We do not charge additional uniform fees. There's no additional travel fees. Everything is included in that number. So the thing and there are payment plans available, so we'll set you up with that way if that's something that you need. The thing that is new for us is that all teams, 13 elite through 18 elite, are now going to go to AAU or USAV Nationals, all of them. So it's included in your tuition from the beginning. So in the past, 13s and 14s have not been included. And then we've kind of had a mad scramble of, do you want to go, do you not want to go? Well, now when you agree to play on a 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 elite team, you are intending to go play at the national level. So for our play at a national tournament. For our 15s through 18s at the national level, you will also go to USA or AAU Nationals. So your tuition includes that. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So here are season fees at our Forest Park location. And so you may want to refer back to this thing that tells you who and what, tells you what comes with each thing. So you'll see that 10 Elite is going to play 4 local tournaments. And remember, I said that at 12 and under, the terms Elite are a little misleading. National's a little misleading. ATL's a little misleading because at 10s, it's an elite team, but they're only going to play in Atlanta because we're not traveling at 10s. At 11s, you can see there's a little bit of difference. They add, at the 11 elite level, you add a couple of bigger tournaments. It's not necessarily more; they're just bigger. So it's a bigger stage. It's bigger expectations, longer tournaments. Then at 12 elite. 12 national, 12 ATL. Our 12 elite team is the first team that starts to travel, and you'll go to this season. You'll go to Franklin, Tennessee. You'll go to Big South and Sunshine, and we're looking at possibly a couple of others. So you're going to want to refer to this for all the information, but also on our website right now. I think the Cobb teams are live. If you go to Cobb and you find the team that says, for instance, 14-1 Elite Kelly, that tournament schedule is the same for Cobb and South. So if you want to know what your tournament schedule is, 90%, there's still a couple of things we're changing on it, but 90%, you can go to the Cobb teams. We just haven't made the South ones public because we know we're changing one or two things. But you can go to the Cobb teams, and that's 90% of what your tournament schedule is going to look like. So there's a little head start on your tournament schedule. For those of you guys that are super planners, here are important dates. This is just, there's a lot more going on. There's a recruiting seminar, there's a recruiting workshop, there's a bunch of stuff that's extra, that's not on here, but this will give you the last day of practice before Thanksgiving, the first day after, the last day of practice before Christmas, first day after, what our when our club picture uniform day is, and then it also has the dates Sunshine, Big South, and SRVA regionals, which are over 2 weekends this year. So anyway, so it just gives you a little bit of a head start on what our season schedule will look like. So you guys may recognize a bunch of these names. These are our Elite One coaches for South. And if you've been around a while, you'll recognize these. At TENS, we devote a good bit of time and resources to helping make sure our TENS are going to be trained well and go into, so that by the time we get to 12s, we have a pretty good understanding of what the game looks like. So Justin Hart is an NCAA Division III national champion assistant coach from Emory University. I'm the club director, Jeff McClellan. I've been doing this for 20-something years. Dan Coons and Faye Culverson are both varsity level coaches on the south side of Atlanta. So we're devoting some pretty good knowledge into our 10 and under program. Gabriella played overseas professionally in Italy. She's been with us a number of years now. I coach the 12-1 team. Christine Cousins played at Florida State. She's been with us for a bunch of years. Jason's a former Division I coach. Tad Sahara's got more state championships than he has rings. Raina's got a national championship as an athlete and then played at Virginia Tech and has been coaching with us a long time. Dunn's our coaching director. Michael Lloyd is actually the new name. You guys might not know. Michael has been at Cobb, Atlanta for a number of years, and he's just moved to the south side of town, and we're super excited to have him join us. I've coached against him a number of times. He's an excellent coach and does a great job of getting the most out of his athletes, and that's probably the biggest thing that he does better than a lot of people that I know. And then Dunn and Morgan Mitchell are going to be coaching our 18s. Morgan was on our very first team to ever win a qualifier. She played at Clemson and has also been a coach with us a number of years. So she and Dunn are going to kind of tag team with the 18s. So that's just a running start at what our coaches look like. We will be, as I said, we'll be releasing the rest of those coaches over the next week here. If you've been with us before, you probably have a pretty good idea about this. We do a lot of posting on our social media. If you guys have been following us, you should have noticed a huge uptick in the last probably 4 weeks. We've hired 2 new people who are managing different social media platforms and stuff. And so we're doing a great job of getting information out. And we use that information. We use those mediums to get out information now, and then once the season starts, we love to brag about your kids. So we start posting pictures of our teams doing things and podium finishes and all that kind of stuff. And so this is where you can follow us is on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. And then our website, we're having a revamping of our website that should start within the next 45 days. It'll be all new. We'll have all kinds of new layout and a bunch of information on it, and team pages are going to look a little differently and everything. So we're pretty excited about all this, but you have to follow us and you have to check on these things. If you do not currently receive our newsletter, please send info@tsunamivolleyball.com an email that you would like to receive the newsletter and what location you are. And the reason I say that is because everything new that we have going on, we post out through the newsletter right away. So any opportunities to get in the gym, are going to come through the newsletter and our social media first before we email out to everybody. So you may want to jump on those. All right, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I did not cover everything. I've done this a long time, and I know we covered a lot of information, but I'm sure I left stuff out. If I did, these are the people that, let me see, with this thing be pointed that way. There we go. These are the people that you should be reaching out to find the answers. I'm at the bottom down there. That's Jeff. That's my email address. The office phone number is down there as well. Heather answers the office phone number. And then starting at the top, Heather is our admin person that's the lead admin for the club. She works out of our South location. info@tsunamivolleyball.com will reach her, as well as myself and Coach Dunn. Amanda is our lead admin person for our Cobb location. Matt Wilson is at Central Georgia. EJ is at Rome. And then Dustin is our director at North Atlanta. So these are the people to reach out to if you have any questions about specific locations. So if we can do anything, please ask. We want to make sure that you guys are informed and that we are taking care of you. We look forward to seeing you guys at tryouts. If you have not registered, please go ahead and do so. It's super important for all of us that you get to skip the line and we make sure we have enough t-shirts and coaches assigned. So anyway, look forward to seeing you guys in the gym.